Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports, where a refereeing error has robbed the Lions of a potential victory over in Scotland up against the Glasgow Warriors, which before everybody sort of jumps on me as saying blaming the referee, will know that I don't like blaming the referee. In fact, I don't even like talking about them. But 13 points to 9, the closest game, the messiest game, a horrible quality of rugby really, probably one of the worst URC games we've seen so far, just so error-ridden and just so many basic errors. But the Glasgow Warriors winning by a margin of 4 points after having a try awarded in the second minute, which was right in front of the poles and converted, which was not a try. And a really, really bad judgment by the referee, who was poorly placed at the time to make the call, was busy falling over a ruck, awards the try, doesn't even consult the TMO, and as a result, the Lions, are behind 7-0. And when you go on to then lose by 4 points, you look back at that moment and think, we actually should have won that game. But I will be the first to admit that the Lions were the enemies of progress today. Look, a lot of politics from a Lions fan, but I think I sit here being so frustrated is that it's a game the Lions should have won. And after a storming 25 minutes period where the Glasgow Warriors were just waltzing in and out of the Lions' defense like it was going out of fashion, the Lions managed to rally, managed to keep the scoreline down, kick themselves back into sort of contention. And at halftime, they were still in the game, but just far, far too many errors in place all the time for the Lions. So many knock-ons, so many individual errors. The second half, they had so many opportunities to try and attack and actually sort of apply pressure, but they just couldn't get the job done. And if you look at some of the stats, it tells you the story of the game. In the first half, Glasgow Warriors had 62% of the possession. And they were all over the Lions. Every single time they used their back line, they were getting through the Lions' defense. There were so many last-ditch tackles and forced knock-ons, and the Lions were sort of hanging by a thread in that first half. Second half, the reversed. 58% possession for the Lions, who played really, really well in that second half, but just couldn't find a way to score a try. Every single time we saw, the scrums, which were immense, were winning us penalty after penalty. Carly Sardi, take a bow. What a scrummager he is. And then kicking it to the line. And then the hookers, both Jakob Asaki and PJ Buerta, not good enough to find their line-out jumpers. It has become an issue for Lions for a long time that we don't have hookers who can hit the line-out jumpers. And it needs to be fixed, because if you can't attack, if you keep butchering lineouts and keep knocking it on during mauls, that goes to one of your primary attacking options as a South African side. Once again, the South African side physically out-muscling their opponents. In the second half, the Lions, they were making big hits. They were making their presence felt. And it just frustrates me. You get to the last 10 minutes of the game where we can see the penalty and Glasgow Warriors kick themselves further ahead. It was a 1-point game. And then Ivan van Rooyen decides to leave all three of his backline replacements on the bench, which were Morne Vandenberg, a live wire scrum half who will find an inch anywhere and go through it. Wandisile Simelane, being touted as the potential successor for Lekanyu one of the most promising centers in the country, gets left on the bench, as well as Matt Moore, who's a 22-year-old center who's just coming on loan. How can you leave these players on the bench when you are chasing a game, when things are not working, where the backline today, unfortunately for the Lions, pretty much undid all the good work the forwards did? We're looking at some of the other sort of stats. Meters carried, 316 by Glasgow, 189 by the Lions. Glasgow Warriors beat 16 defenders, of which I reckon about 15 were probably in the first half. The Lions 4, 5 clean breaks, the Lions 0. Lions had 18 gain line carries to Glasgow's 11. Glasgow had 8 offloads, more passes. Turnovers 1 were equal. Glasgow had more kicks in hand than the Lions. We look at some of the sort of tackle success rate, and the Lions missing 16 tackles, making 73 of the 89. Glasgow Warriors missing just the 4, which was a major part of the game. Goal kicking, even for Ewan, kicked generally pretty well off the tee, apart from that 52-meter attempt he tried. Rucks were pretty solid for the Lions, 98% success there. But the lineouts, we just two big, I think it says 2, I'm pretty sure there were more than 2 big lineout wins, which just weren't good enough. Penalties conceded. Glasgow Warriors conceded a lot more penalties, but the Lions just couldn't, make it count. And that's why it's just so frustrating. Some big performances, the pack was very good. Vincent Tuka, 3 carries, 6 tackles, was pretty solid. Peter Janssen from Fury is a very nice player who's doing a lot of good for the Lions. I thought Ruan Australia had a reasonable outing, made quite a few tackles as well. Jack Creel was busy. For the Glasgow Warriors, Sam Johnson looked pretty dangerous before he went off, playing just the 37 minutes. But I thought that Ross Thompson looked pretty solid when he had ball in hand. But the Lions did very well to disrupt the Glasgow Warriors. And it's just so frustrating that they had the chances to take. But I just don't understand how you can leave 3 players on the bench as a coaching staff, how you can leave 3 players on the bench. And what do you say to them at the end of the match? I'm sorry, we were doing so well, despite trading the entire match, by the way. We were trading since the second minute, that we didn't really back you to come on and be able to make much of a difference. Watching Divan Rousseau gift a knock on inside on the 5-meter line, to Glasgow Warriors, stays on the pitch. Manu Russ basically almost doing nothing the entire game. I don't think he touched the ball in the second half, staying on the pitch. Andre Warner, throwing a couple of really poor passes, putting us under a lot of pressure, staying on the pitch. How can you not? What is the point of taking these players over there if you're not going to use them? And Morley van den Berg, Wanisi and Similani are players who I really, really do rate. And, somebody like Matt Moore, 22 years old, very young, but give him a chance, let him have a go. So very, very frustrating because it's a game that I do feel the Lions could have won, should have won. Horrendous refereeing decision to award that try when he wasn't in a position to do so. Use the technology when it's there. At the moment, we use technology so quickly as referees, but then when we need it most, a situation like that, the referee was literally falling over a ruck. So, you kind of misjudged. What is the harm in going upstairs and just saying, listen, I was falling over. Can you just have a quick check and just confirm the try? Had they done that, they would have realized that the try was short. There was no grounding by Glasgow Warriors. It shouldn't have been awarded, and we can move on. Very, very frustrating as a Lions fan, but a very improved performance. And they kind of showed that they can play at this level. The issue is that the Glasgow Warriors obviously get a lot of internationals back. The Lions don't. But the Lions pack can be very proud of the effort they put in today. It's back to the drawing board for the Lions, but they do get a losing bonus point. And they're up against Ulster next week, so it'll be a huge task before they return to South Africa. Let me know what you thought about the game down in the comments below. Smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel. My name is Steven. Thank you very much for watching. I'll chat to you soon.